Hey guys, Sandy here, and today I'm actually going to be doing a double page spread. Pretty excited about that. Haven't done one of those in a little while. It's interesting. I used to always do 2-page spreads, and then I started having some fun with some 1-pages and kind of like got away from it. So the 2-pagers are kind of interspersed throughout my albums. But what I have is I have 6 selfies with other people from my sister's wedding. And I just want to get these all on a page. And I could like scrapbook this one and talk about that family member and this one and talk about them, but honestly, it just is going to be a spread, and I'm going to include something about selfie in the title. And I've got a bunch of stuff from my stash. I have some borders and some hearts, and some of the stuff is old, like these Mind's Eye Chalk Studio. These are from 2013. I have some stuff from Joy Parade, some American Crafts stickers. This is the ephemera pack from Joy Parade. Some various stickers and gemstone things, and lots of fun freckled fawn embellishments. These are really awesome acetate doilies that just came in the last month's kit. I've got some gold. I've got these journaling cards, which have tons of great colors in them, and neutrals on the back. Sunshine and happiness stickers from Simple Stories. Also got some gray and some black. Some gold metallic heart paper. And then for my background sheets, I'm going to be using these Bella Boulevard papers from Sweet Sweet Spring. And I'm going to be using like this loose grid pattern. On the back, we have these fun clouds, rainbows, and sunshines, and it's easy breezy. But I'm going to be using this one. All right, let's see what I can do.
Okay, so I did the 3 4x6 photos straight across the page, and I figured out where I wanted my gold heart paper to be, and also the scalloped paper that I did out of the gray on gray dot. And then I also put on that KI Memories floral border over top the scallop. Now, interestingly enough, when I was looking at the products to write down what I had used on this layout, I discovered that these borders are adhesive backed. So I've been using these borders on and off for the past couple weeks and never even realized that they had adhesive on the back of them. So I just need to pull off that paper. Crazy. Okay, so here I am. I just line up my two 12x12 papers so that they create like a 12x24 canvas, and then I just line up the heart paper. Now, if I would have been super careful, I would have actually cut the heart paper so that the heart designs lined up. However, they're just off ever so slightly, and I'm going to leave it. I mean, it's close enough. They line up across the page, even though the design is a little bit off. And just like you'll see later, the scalloped on the bottom, that's a little bit off as well. They don't create like a full scallop where they meet in the middle. But like I said, it's not enough so your eye is going to be jarred by it, where if you're flipping through my albums, you're going to be like, oh no, she didn't do a complete scallop in the center of her page. Oh, the humanity. I mean, nobody's going to be into the album that much, and if that's the kind of stuff you're looking for in my albums, I probably don't want you looking at my albums anyway. You know, I want you to see the photos and read the stories and like share in my memory keeping. It's not for you to take a peek and see where I didn't have a full scallop. Now, this layout took me just over an hour to complete, and a lot of that was fiddling around with the clusters. And that's because I kind of loosely put stuff where I wanted them, and then I worked one cluster at a time. And the loosely done clusters didn't exactly match the great clusters, and I thought I was, whatever. You think that you're going to use something, like I tried to use that family sticker a couple times. That didn't make it onto the layout, and you might not even be seeing me play with it a couple times because I cut out a bunch of the messing around where I'm just like moving stuff around. I know that some people enjoy seeing that, and some people are like, get the layout finished and let's see what you got going on. So I try to, have a healthy mix in there. Okay, so these are one of those We Are Memory Keepers journaling cards, and I cut out the word snapshot, and it has orange in it. And if you're just looking at this page now and you're like, why in the world is she bringing orange? She's got all these neutrals, these grays, blacks, and whites, and now she's putting on orange. Like, what is going on with this girl? But all of my embellishments are going to be super colorful. There's going to be orange and pink and yellow and blue and a little bit of green. So all that portion, all the embellishment is going to be super colorful. Now these acetate doilies are cool. I really like them. Like, I like them a lot. And they came in the Freckled Fawn embellishment kit for this month, and that is August. So if you subscribe to Freckled Fawn, hooray, you got them. And if you do not subscribe, you might be able to get them in the shop or even buy the kit for the month. I'm not like getting stuff from Freckled Fawn for free or anything, and they're not paying me. I don't think anybody's ever offered to like pay me for whatever. Anyway, I just really like them and think that they're awesome and think you should try them. That's all it is to it. Speaking of Freckled Fawn, I gotta say, I have been doing their monthly kits for a while now, and their customer service is usually spot on. We got a note in the kit this month that the epoxy stickers that she wanted to include it in there were actually not up to standard, so she had them remanufacture them, which is awesome. And then if you're a kit subscriber, you'll just get them in with your September kit, and if you're not a subscriber, you'll get them in the mail when they are back from the manufacturer. And I just think that that's pretty awesome, and that note was included in there because we've done other like monthly subscription things before. We've done like Nerd Block and Loot Crate and those kind of things, and they weren't as upfront when they've had manufacturing issues. So I appreciate that. I appreciate that honesty a lot. Okay, so the Best Time die cut up there, I actually heat embossed it. I covered it in Versamark ink and then put clear embossing powder over it so that it had a little bit of shine to it. And I did that because of that All Together sticker down there. It has, it's not a super shiny surface, but it is more of a shinier surface. So I want it to have that similarity. Now I was going to do like those two big clusters, one where it says The Best Time and one where it says All Together, and then I was going to have two smaller clusters, one on the top left where the Enjoy Ya is, and then over on the bottom right where that label sticker is. However, I decided after I had finished my third cluster that I liked the balance and I liked that visual triangle, and if I put that fourth cluster on there, it would just be too much and it would be junked up. And that was me just showing you that I had embossed that The Best Time. And I'm loosely doing my cluster over here on the left, thinking that was all it was going to be, and I would put like a little heart up there or a little something, but ended up not doing that whatsoever. I ended up doing something different, and that upper cluster on the left there is the one that gave me big trouble. Like, it irritated me. And I definitely wanted to use some of these rhinestone shapes. I'm trying to get through like a lot of my stash. I'm realizing that I have a lot more older stash than I thought. Like, I thought I was doing pretty good, but I went into my rhinestone box and discovered I had those old ones. And I'm like, man, I gotta use these up. Like, why am I even holding on to this stuff? It's pretty stuff. It needs to go on my layouts. It needs to make my albums pretty. I just need to get it done. So that's my plan. For all my pages from here on out, I'm just trying to get some stuff done. Now, I pulled out that Simple Stories sticker pack, and I wanted Enjoy. I decided that I was just going to go word heavy up here. Like, just put the words on. You can decorate with words. Your embellishments and your decorations don't always have to be like florals or hearts or stars or flamingos or coffee cups or any kind of like design and element like that. It can be words, like design with words. I especially like having lots of words on layouts. If I'm doing lots of layouts with words, then I don't know, I like it. Because when I'm flipping through the pages, say I don't have time, because I go through my albums pretty regularly. I look through my albums. I like looking back at the memories. I like seeing the photos. I like seeing the stories. I like reading the stories. I like reading the words on the page. And sometimes when I grab an album and I'm just flipping, I might only have a few moments, and those words like convey the story. Like usually I can remember the story that I write down on that album, or it might not even be that same story that I wrote down, but those words on the page trigger a memory, and I have that in my head while I'm looking through the pages. So I like that. I like that for me. So I grabbed those washi tapes, and then magically it's right there. And instead of doing those washi tapes on white paper, I did it on black paper, and it just gives it a little bit more edge and definition, to me at least. And now I was just showing you I had that roll of bling, and that came from Recollections, and that's pretty old too. It's been a while. It comes in a row of 3. And I just cut off one of the rows and decided to put it across that entire washi strip right there. And like, hooray! So as you can see, when I'm doing a 2-page spread, I do keep both pages on my work surface. Unless I'm really doing something detailed on one page where I need to move it around a lot, say I'm stitching or doing something like that, I keep it as one big canvas. I keep it as the 12 by 24 because I want to be able to see what it's going to look like in the album. If I just did the page on the left and then put that to the side and did the page on the right, even though I had lined up the photos and even though I had lined up the gold paper and the scalloped paper, it might not be as balanced as I would want it to be. So having that entire 12 by 24 spread right there really helps me out to know what I want to go where. Now these they're like gold foil epoxy stickers, and they came from Freckled Fawn as well, and they are like a black and white sticker that kind of has like a gold splatter across them. Now there was a little bit of chatter in the Facebook groups about these, and some people didn't like them and some people did like them, and I wasn't exactly crazy about them. And I think the reason why I wasn't exactly crazy about them is that they're on a sticker sheet with those colorful hearts and stars, and to me it just looks weird. Like if I'm looking at that product, if I was in the store and looking through stuff, that would not grab my attention and I would not purchase it. However, as you can see over by the Best Time, I used one of those hearts right next to the floral sticker, and I like it. Like, I like what I've done with this. I like the fact that I've got the epoxy and the color and the gold, and I also have the rhinestones going on. Like, to me, it looks fine. It's a colorful, fun page with pops of excitement. But like I said, in that wrapping, it doesn't really do it for me. So, I guess if that wouldn't have been on my desk because I just opened my Freckled Fawn kit, and I always try to use something right away out of the new Freckled Fawn kit, that might have sat in my stash for a while, or even might have gone in my like pile of stuff to give away. So I guess my advice is try it. You might like it. Okay, so this bottom cluster gave me a fit. I mess around with this thing for a good 20 minutes. Don't worry, I am not making you watch 20 minutes of me messing around with this cluster. That little color block thing right there is actually the bottom of the top portion, and I thought that that would be good to bring it across the page so that your eye would move from one side to the other. to have that similarity there. And sometimes that similarity will just make your eyes kind of glaze over and you don't even notice. But sometimes similarity on two different places or three different places or four or five or however many different places, it can cause your eye to move across the page instead of just like staring at the page. Like I'm looking at this page and my eye gravitates to that big cluster of stuff. So then, my eye will gravitate to the next big cluster of stuff. And while I'm moving across the pages, I'm seeing all the photos. And since the photos are in a straight line, if you're not a person who gravitates towards the pretty and sees like what's on the page first, you'll see the photos in a straight line and your eye will just go straight across. And I think I had mentioned in the beginning that I was going to do something about titling this selfie, because that's what these all were selfies with my family members, but I never even said anything about selfie until the very end. I just did like a little handwritten note about selfie with the family or something small like that. I figured, because actually I already have a page in the 2016 album that says something about selfies, and really selfies aren't that huge of a part of my life, so I didn't want to call even more attention to it with a second layout in an album that had the word selfie in it. I mean, maybe selfies play a bigger part in my life than I thought, but I don't think so. Okay. So I finally get that situated, and I'm doing the same thing with the thing on the bottom where I'll do the rhinestones across that washi tape thing that I put on black paper again. And then I'm looking at these things, these KI Memories things, and I thought that they were just like good thick borders. I cannot believe that they had adhesive backs, and it never even dawned on me. Okay, so I'll remember that next time I play with those borders. Still have a bunch of them, so I'm sure I'll be using them. Okay, so I'm just finagling this around, and that altogether is popped up on some foam just from the craft store. I think I got it at Michael's, really cheap. Once I get through this foam, I'm going to actually go buy some that's already adhesive backed, but honestly, I don't want to have a whole stash of foam in my room, so I'm going to use what I have first. Okay, and here I am, trying to figure exactly where I want this second flower, because I definitely wanted the second one there. I do have one up at that other cluster, so I wanted a second one in this other bigger cluster. And I decide to put it on a place that leaves a little bit of trap space. And normally, I can't even say normally, so I guess it depends. Every layout is different. Sometimes I'll have trap space and it won't bother me at all. Sometimes I'll have trap space and I'll have to figure out something to put inside there. And sometimes I'll have trap space and it bothers me, but not that much, and I just leave it and get the layout finished. So here I am using that roll of bling, and I'm going to get that on there. And I have those 2 rows of bling, and I'm happy with that. And get him placed down and sucked down, and that's perfect. Now, one of the little blingies popped off, but it was one of the blings that would be off the edge of that washi tape that I placed on the black cardstock. So I'm just like, whatever, and leave it. Now here I decide to put that flower down, and there's that little bit of trap space. And what I'm going to do is put one of the little epoxy hearts there, because I do have an epoxy heart up in that other cluster. And at first I decide to go with the dark heart, but something dark heart. That was like a bad guy on Care Bears way back in the day, I think. Or maybe that was Cold Heart. I don't know. Anyway, okay, flashback to the early 90s cartoons. So I ended up going with a lighter heart. Now up here at the top, this cluster gave me the biggest fit of them all. I lost that hexagon shape with the geo tag on it, and I had to pull out my desk and look all around, and finally I found it. It was like static clinging to the back of a packaging. So that took a good while to find and figure out. But once I did find it, I was like, hooray! And we were good. Okay, so I get that up there. I put on an epoxy heart there as well, and I go with the yellow because I do have yellow in the other areas. And those same florals are there. And so I have all the florals in 3 places. And then I decide to pull out these pink rhinestones. And they're the same pink rhinestones that I used in the cluster over on the top right. And I'm just spreading them around and just giving little pops of sparkle through those gemstones at the other 2 clusters. Now see how on the second page there's all that blank space down there. And I'm okay with that, and I think it's fine, because as you're looking at these pages right now, those clusters totally make a visual triangle, and I'm happy with that. But what I do is grab those Evilicious Puffy stickers and just add a couple in each cluster. Like I have the banner up at the top, and then I just add the hearts and such things in the other clusters. And I put the one heart on top of the all together sticker, and I did that because nothing is layered over that sticker whatsoever. Everything else on the page is like layered up and touching, and things are touching, and if you're just glancing you can't really tell which layer is which. But that one is like bam in your face, so what I decided to do was put that little heart sticker on there. Now here, oh, excuse that big head, I just put the date and then I wrote something about selfies with the family. Alright guys, thanks so much for watching and checking out this 2-page layout. If you have any questions or comments, go ahead and leave them below, and I will get back at you soon. Alright, thanks so much for watching. Bye.